Welcome back to the Deeper 2025 podcast. I'm excited that you've joined us today. We're walking through the Bible together in our Bible reading plan. Today we come to Mark chapter 16, and we see in Mark chapter 16 the most powerful moment in history, the resurrection. In verse 6 of Mark 16, the angel tells the women who had gone to anoint Jesus' body, "Don't be alarmed. You're looking for Jesus of Nazareth who was crucified. He has risen. He's not here." And the women are stunned. The tomb that once represented defeat is now representing victory. Later, Jesus appears to his followers in this chapter, and he says, "Go into all the world and preach the gospel to all creation." And I'm just telling you, friends, if you would have been a party to that first Easter morning when the stone was rolled away, the tomb was empty, there would be no hesitation to preach the gospel to all creation. Now, that's not to say there shouldn't be any hesitation for us today, but I'm just saying what a powerful moment that these disciples and these women came to as they knew that Jesus had defeated death and defeated sin and has now risen from the grave. But I think just a couple of things I want to point out from Mark chapter 16. The first one is that God is already working on things that you're worried about. Think about it. The women in this story, they are worried about how they're going to roll the stone away to get to Jesus' body to anoint it. Well, guess what? They get there. The stone is rolled away. God already had a plan for that. He already had it taken care of. And so sometimes we come up against things and we're like, man, we are worried about X, Y, or Z because we just don't know how it's going to work out. We don't know exactly what's going to happen. And we've got to realize that God already is working on those things, that we've got to trust him with what looks like a mountain that can't be moved because he can move mountains. But I think the other thing is the resurrection. It just isn't good news. It's personal news. It's personal for us. In fact, the resurrection is what everything we believe and everything we say we believe hinges on. Paul would say that if the resurrection didn't happen, then everything we're doing is in vain. And so the resurrection has to be personal for us. It has to be impactful for us personally. Another thing I see in Mark chapter 16, we're not called to be messengers. We're not called just to be messengers. We're called to be receivers. We've got to receive what the resurrection does for us. It brings hope. It brings new life. It brings joy to our lives to know that Jesus is alive. And so don't just get bogged down and think, you know what, all it is Christianity is all just a bunch of work for me. No. We receive a ton by the fact that the resurrection has happened. Because Jesus lives, we can live with courage. We can live with purpose. And I think the last thing I want us to see out of Mark chapter 16 as we go into Luke tomorrow is that the resurrection of Jesus sealed his victory forever. Like it's a final thing. Like we don't have to relitigate that. We don't have to wonder if that's going away. Jesus resurrected from the grave. He resurrected. He walked out of the tomb. He eventually, 40 days later, ascended to God the Father. He sits at the right hand of God the Father right now. And that is something that should give you hope. That should give you meaning. That should give you purpose. Why? Because we serve a Jesus who is not dead but alive. We serve a God who defeated death. And as one of my favorite preachers says, if the tomb is empty, nothing's impossible. And so in your life, nothing is impossible because the tomb is empty. So live in that reality today. Live in the reality that the resurrection of Jesus changes everything about today. And if you'll live with that hope and that reality, your life will have meaning and will have purpose. And so go and do that today. Live in the power of the resurrection. Live in the hope and the joy that Jesus is alive.